Okay, so we've now got your team on the screen, Adam. We'll look at our teams now and our plans for game week 20, just for our podcast listeners as well. Could you just run through your
Yeah,
squads and then your plans for game week 20?
it is a squad now. Yeah,
It
it's
is
looking at.
indeed.
So my goalkeeper at the moment is Meslier. I've got Kufal at home to away to Palace, Diaz, Robertson, and Justin. Then I've got Salah, De Bruyne, and Fernandez captain, and then I've got Bamford, Antonio, and Watkins. And then the bench is Johnston, Rafina, Holding, and Soucek. I haven't really thought about the order of the
Yeah.
bench yet, to be honest. But my plans at the moment, I, I think anything other than De Bruyne to Son for me is overthinking it, and I don't worry about the fact he's got Liverpool in the slide, because the thing I know, let's say I went with Gundogan or Foden, um, I could watch the West Brom game, or I could see something and think, well, actually, or I could watch the Everton game versus Leicester and think, well, actually, I really want that player. There's so many options there. Whereas one thing that I will categorically know is, even if Son blanks this week, I will want him in the week after.
Exactly.
So I'm not going to regret the transfer. Whereas there's a lot of other options at the cheaper price. So Son will come in. I don't like my goalkeeper situation, but because of the fixtures, if Meslier is past fit, which hopefully he will be, I think there's enough time. Yeah, I mean, I'm tempted. I've been tempted to just sort my goalkeeper situation out and take a -4. I like De Gea actually as a goalkeeper potentially, but
Yeah.
I think I probably will leave that, because the rotation has got arguably the four easiest fixtures. So I just don't know if it's probably just not worth messing with. I picked it for a reason. I think they've got, so how it works is Meslier. So Meslier's got Newcastle, then Johnston's got Fulham and Sheffield United, then Meslier's got Crystal Palace. So if you were going to pick the fixtures, you'd probably go with them, wouldn't you? Maybe throw Burnley in there as well. But they're so I'll probably stick with, and then it'd be a -4 effectively. So I think I'll just see it out with my goalkeeper combination. Plus, as well, I think for Fulham and Sheffield United, we know Big Sam loves a clean sheet. He's not got one yet. He'd probably prefer a clean sheet than a
He
win,
would,
wouldn't he?
he would,
So,
he's right.
so I think I'll keep that. I may do a -4. If I do a -4, the player I'll be bringing in will be Cancelo. So I could do it for Robertson, but I don't need the money. And then Robertson's got a couple of okay fixtures after. I could do it for Holding even. And I do like Holding as a bench player, and I do. But if I'm playing four at the back, it then gives me Cancelo, Diaz, Robertson, Justin, and Kufal, which is,
A
but
five at the back there, mate, to be honest.
well, yeah, but there'll always be the one, like Kufal will have Liverpool
Yeah,
next
yeah,
week.
sure.
So that's what I'm tempted to do. I could do. You said about taking the extra hit to get Cancelo in it. It's something I was thinking about. His stats are so good, and it doesn't matter if he doesn't play, because my squad is good enough to
Yeah.
cover.
I,
So I think if I didn't bring him in this week, I'd bring him in next week. What do you reckon? What would you do?
yeah, I completely agree. So I would go De Bruyne to Son. I would probably, now you said, actually, you'll have enough money left, and assuming your wild card in 25, so you don't have to
Yeah,
save the money back for De Bruyne either, because he won't be back until then. You may as well upgrade Holding. I think the only issue we're all going to have, and it's something we don't like, we're going to have benching headaches, and we're going to have points on our benches. I can see us having holes on our benches over this next 4 game weeks, like
yeah. I wish I'd have kept my
proper
bench boost.
holes, because yeah, I know, yeah. But if you think, at the moment, so your bench at the moment is going to be Rafinha, who's away to Newcastle,
Yeah,
Soucek, who's away to Palace, and one of, I suppose, Justin Robertson or Kufal. It's going to
I'll
be a
probably put Justin on the bench, because I think with Everton having all of their players back, I could see them scoring, particularly a set piece. Leicester are a bit vulnerable on set pieces, aren't they?
nine
So
point Justin on the bench. That's
I,
gonna
I just, I just,
uh,
I just think that, yeah, I fancy West Ham. I think West Ham are more likely to keep a clean sheet than Leicester.
good point by Mega John Williams. Surely you'd play Rafinha over Robertson, who's playing against Son, who you would have in your team, perhaps, maybe. But something to think about.
Yeah, I don't know on that. I'd have to. I haven't. Yeah, I think I'm going to have headaches with my team. I don't think I'll start Rafinha because I just have even as bad as Newcastle are. I just think he's looked out of sorts the last few games. But he was rubbish against Brighton. I'd say from an FPL perspective,
yeah, of course.
His stats aren't great. It was a double game week pick, and in hindsight, and I think there was one match I watched. I think it was the United game where he looked quite good, and I think I put too much bias on that. I shouldn't have bought him in. I do regret that transfer because I think there were some other good options. I mean, the other thing is I just don't take a hit, and then because I've got a good enough squad, but I do quite want Cancelo at some point.
It's how he hasn't returned an attacking return, because I haven't owned him either, and he's burst into the box on a lot of occasions and slammed the ball straight at the keeper. On a couple of occasions, crosses in are really dangerous. He plays these little through balls. He's kind of hovering. He kind of hovers just on the right of the D, and he's always knocking it back and forth and looking for the gap. Absolutely superb. And
someone's just put in the chat, bench Salah.
Bench Salah, flipping egg. That would be good.
I think I've got quite a few dilemmas at the moment, but I mean it's good. It's better than having.
It's gonna be interesting. We'll have a competition over the next couple of game weeks. Who has the highest bench haul? Because I think that we're gonna see a couple of hauls. I reckon we're gonna see 20, 25 points on the bench.
I reckon my bench this week will beat my bench boost square back.
100%.
Yeah, it's not got much. Not. Yeah, it's just got to get 10. So
it's going to get more than that. Well, Soucek will score and get 11 by himself.
The problem with Soucek is just unpredictable. That's the.
Yes.
I think with the amount of funds we've got now, he's the perfect bench player. But I don't. Yes, I don't think I want to start Soucek, so I'll keep. He's definitely on the bench.
I haven't got the exact number in front of me, but I've had Soucek something like 8 or 9 game weeks or something.
Yeah,
and I think he's scored 4 or 5 goals in that time. And every time I've started him, he hasn't scored. And the other 4 or 5 times he has scored, he's been on my bench every time. I've had his points off once. Other than that, I've had like a 10 point or 11 point, whatever it is, staring at me at first serve. He's mega frustrating to own, but how can you start him against those, all those other players, Salah, Son, and all this?
Exactly.
Onto my team. So at the moment, I've got Martinez in goals. I've got Johnston as my reserve keeper. So I'm happy with Martinez. I mean, I think I've fallen on my feet a little bit with Martinez because I bought him really early on in the season for his price, and Villa had a good run from game week 8 or 9, wherever it was. But he just seems to have really, really performed. So I'm chuffed to have Martinez. He's been fantastic for me. I've got Diaz, Justin, Kufal. I've got Dallas still, who always scares me because he's always very, very attacking, and I think he scored 3 goals this season or 4 goals. He scored a lot. And I've got Loughton, who I don't want long term. His fixtures are not the best, and I can afford to upgrade him now. Got a midfield of Salah, Son, Bruno, De Bruyne, and Soucek. So at the as of last week, probably the best midfield you could get, and a front 3 of Bamford, Watkins, and Che Adams. And if I'd have had that 0.1 to do Adams to Antonio, I would have done it. I would have had net profit of 14 points last game week, and also I would now have Antonio in my team as well. So that's really, really frustrating there. In terms of my plans, I'm definitely doing De Bruyne to Gundogan. So that's my number 1 move. I think, like I said, I think Gundogan is just fantastic. I think he'd be on penalties now. How he hasn't scored more than he has.
Yeah, it'd be on penalties.
It's been incredible. So I think that I've got Son. I think that's the next best move there. Obviously, that leaves me roughly 6 million in the bank. Then I am tempted to upgrade Loughton to Cancelo. So it would be a hit, but I can do that fairly easily. It means I'd have a really good back five. I'd have a really good midfield five. I'm just not sure then on whether to, and I probably won't do it this week. But I do want to get rid of Adams for Antonio, but I don't think I need to this week. So Antonio's next to the away to Palace, I think, and home to Liverpool. So not the best fixtures.
Could you do De Bruyne to Gundogan and Adams to Kane?
No, because I want Cancelo, and I think that I've got Son. I'm happy with Son. Again, I've said all season I think that Son is a better pick than Kane, and I want Antonio as well. And we kind of mentioned it last week, the week before, I think as well, didn't we? I don't think you need to spend the premium money up front because the value at the back and in midfield is just.
Don't need to spend it in midfield.
Well, you don't. This is the thing. So I think by doing that, I was tempted to do a -8 to move Adams onto Antonio, but I don't think I'll need to because I'll have a really good team anyway and a good bench. So I'll probably just leave him. In all honesty, I was keen to hold on to my to Bamford, Dallas, and Adams just in case they had a double game week in 23. But now that Southampton have beaten Arsenal in the FA Cup, I don't think that's going to happen now. So
who are you going to bench then? So when bring in Gundogan and you bring in Cancelo for Loughton, who are you going to start? Who are you going to bench?
I don't. So I'll bench Adams.
Yeah,
home to Arsenal is not not the worst fixture. I'll probably bench Adams. I'll probably bench.
So see the Southcheck or one of you.
I don't even want to bench Dallas, see, because I think that Leeds will do well. I honestly, I don't know. I don't know.
You starting Justin Akufo?
I think so. Maybe not Justin. I fancy. Do you know what? I just don't know. I haven't put enough thought into it.
Strength, and it'll be interesting to see. Do they play tomorrow in the Cup? They're back to full strength. And they're decent at set pieces.
That's not actually.
I think they undid or they caused Leicester problems last time from set pieces. I think both the. So I mean the way Leicester are defending, they could keep a clean sheet, but I think with Leicester having it seems like everybody back. Sorry, Everton. I mean. And I think Crystal Palace without Zaha as well. Read that earlier.
I'm not sure. I haven't read that one.
We missed the last game, so it'd be interesting to see. But that's obviously a big plus for Kufal if that's the case, isn't it?
Definitely. Yeah, but guaranteed anyway, I'm going to have a bloody strong bench, and this is why I think we're going to see holes in our benches because my third bench player is going to be Adams at home to Arsenal. Who if Adams scored against Arsenal. You wouldn't be surprised, right? And got like an 8 or 9 pointer. So it's, I think it's going to be an interesting few weeks. I can sense a lot of frustration